Hello to you, all my family in the YouTube world. I appreciate you looking at my video. Today, we're going to be talking about should you sell your property or should you rebuild your property after your house has experienced fire damage loss. Now, I want you to grab a pen and a piece of paper. I'm going to give you a couple of items to write out a checklist. These are the questions you want to ask yourself before jumping ship or staying on board to determine what's best for you and your family. For instance, you want to know what is the extent of the damage. Was it a total loss or just a partially burnt section of the house? What is the total cost of the repairs for the property? Is it a $200,000 claim or is it a $10,000 claim? You're going to want to know what's your financial situation. Are you kind of pushed to the brink and any lapse in payment could cost you even more issues? Or do you have 5-6 months of reserves and it's okay, you could hold off on having not immediate income, miss a week or two from work? These are things you want to kind of think about. In addition to that, you're going to want to ask yourself, are you emotionally or personally connected to this property? Have you lived there in the neighborhood for many years? Or is it something that you don't care if you moved to the other side of the country? That's another item you want to look into for yourself. Another one is going to be, do you have insurance coverage? Or do you have enough insurance coverage, or do you have any insurance coverage at all? That makes a big difference of what can you expect to recoup when you're going through this process. Then another big piece is going to know what is your living situation. Do you have a place, a friend, a family, a cousin to go and stay at, or do you have to go the hotel route? Because that's going to determine how long you want this to be drawn out for. And then most importantly, I think, is do you currently have a mortgage on your property, or do you own the property free and clear? What that's going to do, that's going to determine how much money you're going to have left over after you pay off the mortgage to rebuild your life, or are you able to take the whole check and maybe just rebuild your property? Those are some of the things you're going to want to kind of isolate, determine, talk with your spouse, or have that conversation with yourself before making any other decisions. So let's talk about some of the benefits of rebuilding your house once you decide to make that decision. Now, one of the best ones, you get to stay in the house that you bought, you lived in for many years. You don't have to jump up and remove into a different side of the town or into a new house. In addition to that, you're able, if your kids go to the school in that area, or if you was raised in that neighborhood for 30 years, you don't have to leave. So that's obviously a plus, right? Second item is that if you're adverse to change, if you don't like change, you're uncomfortable with change, then this might be the best, most sanity-induced way of keeping your sanity in place by just staying in the house, in the neighborhood that you was raised in. You're comfortable, you don't have to worry about change. But please keep in mind that if you do decide to stay, there's a chance that you might have to secure additional financing, additional funding to cover the rest of the repairs that the insurance company may not pay for. So that's something you just want to keep in consideration. And most importantly, going into this, you have to understand this is not going to be a month process. There's certificate of occupancies. There's a lot of things you're going to have to go through and get just so you could be back in your regular home. So expect 5 to 7 months for you living in some other temporary housing before you're going to be able to get back into your property and get back to your normalcy of life. But that is definitely a valid option if that's what you choose to do. One thing you might want to do, go to my video on my blog where I specifically go over how to get the most out of your insurance claim. So if you do decide to stay and there is overages that the insurance company doesn't want to pay and you don't want to get a loan, well, there's some tips and techniques I offered in that video that you could utilize to hopefully capture that additional money so you don't have to come out of pocket. Good tip for you. So let's talk a little bit about the benefits and highlights of selling your property if that's what you decide to do. Now, most homeowners think it's nearly impossible to successfully sell their fire damaged property that's going to be financially beneficial for them, and that is a myth. That could be further from the truth. I mean, take for instance, you're going to get your insurance policy payout, and that could pay off the mortgage and have money left over for a down payment for a property, or you could basically, if there is no mortgage, you're able to take the insurance policy and buy a brand new property free and clear. If you're gonna take the cash I bring to the table, you're able to fully furnish out your property that's free and clear. Or if you have a mortgage payment, you might be able to pay 2 to 3 years off, where you don't have to worry about a mortgage payment just by taking the cash and putting yourself in a better position where you're able to have some reserves. You're able to recover that much faster because you're not gonna wait 5 to 7 months while your house is being restored, trying to be rebuilt. More importantly, you're not gonna have to deal with that emotional connection, that burden of thinking, hey, I lost a a family pet, maybe lost a loved one, maybe lost all my prized possessions or all my pictures, all my family heirlooms. What happens, yeah, you might have a brand new built house, but you're having those memories. You can smell odor that triggers trauma, and that could cause issues years on after you living in your house. Another thing to take into consideration is that if you were to rebuild your property, that 5 to 7 month process, if a vagrant gets into your property and they hurt themselves, they catch the property on fire again, guess what? Guess who's liable? You are. And that's some liability you don't want to have to take on if you don't have to. In addition to that, you're able to not have to worry about trying to find restoration companies, trying to read exactaments, trying to figure out who's going to do the insurance claim, trying to figure out how the permits work, how to get certificate of occupancy. You don't have to worry about any of that. Within 1 to 2 months, you're able to get into your property, get your cash, move on with your life, and start back to normalcy right away versus waiting 3 to 5 to 7 months. Those are some of the values you're going to be able to really put into effect for you and your family. And why wouldn't you want to put yourself in a better position if you didn't have to wait? So those are just some of the things you want to take into consideration when you're making your decision. We also offer assistance on helping you move on, as well as getting you a fresh start. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We are looking forward to finding out how we can help you, how we can better assist you. And remember to subscribe to my channel and watch these videos, as I'm going to be providing more solid content and solid information, tips and suggestions to not only help you survive a house fire, but actually thrive after a house fire after experiencing this type of tragedy. That's it, folks. Each one, teach one. Go out there and find someone to bless. You receive your blessing by being a blessing. See you guys next time.